Thanks for tuning in to BioHackly. In this video, I'm going to show you how I set up my longevity ozone generator for ozone inhalation therapy. Alright, let's get started. This video is for informational purposes only and it's not intended to be medical advice. Please seek the advice of your medical doctor before you try anything like this at home. Let me go ahead and show you the equipment that we're going to use today. First of all, we're going to start out with our nasal cannula. And you can see that this is the area that would go in the nose, and I'll demonstrate that in a few minutes. This nasal cannula is on a fairly long hose, and that hose will connect up to our glass bubbler. And you can see in the glass bubbler it's about 2/3 full of a nice rich yellow color olive oil in there. Never use oil if it's losing its yellow color. If it's losing its yellow color, it means it can no longer absorb all of the ozone that's bubbling through it, and the ozone will start coming out of the bubbler and you'll be breathing it in, and you don't want to breathe in any ozone because it's an irritant. So make sure you use a nice fresh oil that's rich in yellow color, and that'll prevent any ozone from coming through. Now it's important to remember that we're not actually breathing in ozone here. We're actually breathing in a nebulized oil molecule that's a product of a combination of ozone and the olive oil, and it's commonly referred to as terpenes. So basically it contains ozonides and molecules called terpenes, and they're completely safe to inhale. Now we have a glass trap here on the other side, or a check valve it's often called, and the reason for that is because if there was ever any back pressure, as an example, if we took this and we plugged up those two holes there, the vapor would have nowhere to go and it would start going backwards, and it would push that olive oil possibly back into the machine. So we use a glass check valve or trap to prevent that from happening. So if for some reason there was back pressure and the olive oil went in here, it would actually drip to the bottom of that and it wouldn't let any of the back pressure, the olive oil, go back into the machine. You never want to get back pressure or any type of liquid going back into your machine. So it's important to have a glass check valve or a trap. There are Teflon ones available, but they're actually very cheap and they break down over time. And the last thing you want to do is have something break down when you're doing your inhalation therapy, like in this case, and get some of that olive oil backwards into the machine. So get rid of the Teflon, get yourself a glass check valve. These are also available from Longevity Resources. On the left-hand side here, you can see we have our oxygen tank. This is an industrial oxygen tank, and it's filled with food-grade oxygen right now. This is a 240 liter, but it's also available in other sizes. I have the gold standard of oxygen regulators here. This is also made from Longevity Resources. Longevity Resources makes what I've found to be the very best oxygen regulators you can get out there. Very, very high-end, high quality, but only in the $200 range, so it's not expensive. But if you're using a cheaper regulator, there's a chance that you're going to get an inaccurate flow and maybe even leakage at some point, so spend a little extra money. Order one of these from Longevity. There's another one right there, that green one. I'll put the model numbers for these on the screen. And I'll put all of these products in the description below, so that if you want to order any of these from Longevity, I'll make it easy for you. You can just go to ozonegenerator.com as their website as well. So spend a little extra money. This regulator will fit on any industrial oxygen tank, just like that one. They also have medical grade tanks and medical grade regulators available for medical applications. On the right hand side, I have my Longevity Ozone Generator. This is the EXT120T Ultra. This is their newest ozone generator. It's all digital, developed with NEOS technology. You can see on the right-hand side we have our ozone concentration meter. Right now I have it set to 3. There's 3 LEDs lit up there. On the left side I have a timer. It's set to 10 minutes right now. You can set it to seconds as well, or to infinity. And the way the machine works is once I have the oxygen hooked up and I hit start and it starts generating ozone, that timer is going to count down to 0. When it gets to 0, it's going to stop generating ozone, and the ozone generator is going to turn off inside and just leave the power on the machine itself. When it comes to protocols like this here, Dr. Frank Shallenberger suggests using 7 to 12 gamma for the inhalation therapy. And so if I look at my chart from Longevity Resources, I'm actually going to set it today at 8.3. That's why I've got it set to 3 on my ozone concentration. I'm going to set up my flow on my oxygen regulator to 1/4. Dr. Shallenberger says the flow rate is usually 1/8, but can also be 1/4, depending on the concentration that you're trying to get. So again, I'm actually going to run at 8.3 this time. Next time I might try running at 11, which would set me at 2 on here, and that one would go up to 1/8 instead of 1/4. But for now, as I said, I'm going to leave it at 3. I'm going to run that thing at 1/4. This chart's also available on top here. If you want to learn more about these ozone protocols, I suggest getting the Ozone Miracle, which is the new book from Dr. Frank Shallenberger. It's available on Amazon.com. He covers this protocol. He covers all of the other ozone protocols that anyone would be typically doing today, like rectal insufflation and ear insufflation, even making ozonated water. And it's written in layman terms, so it's very, very easy to understand. So I'll put a link down below in the description for that, the Ozone Miracle from Dr. Shallenberger. He also has another book called Principles and Applications of Ozone Therapy, a practical guide for physicians. If you are a physician or you are in the medical sector, this is a great book to learn more about ozone therapy. It's very technical. It's really made for physicians and medical applications. So that's a great book also if you're running a laboratory, a research laboratory, something like that. Longevity Resources, the company that I got this ozone generator from, I ended up watching videos from Dr. Robert Rowan. He's got some incredible testimonials on YouTube using different ozone therapies. And Dr. Gary Gordon and Dr. Frank Shallenberger. They all talk about Longevity Resources. So I went to the website to do a little more homework on the company. And their client list is really incredible. I'll put a graphic up and show you. Everybody from NASA to Boeing to Carl Zeiss to Rutgers Medical University or medical school to Caltech. Their client list is incredible. It's really the who's who. And they've been around for 20 years, okay? They've been in business for 20 years. This machine and all of their ozone generators are manufactured in North America. You're going to have a hard time finding other ozone generators that are manufactured in North America, as most of them come out of China. And if you get an ozone generator from China, chances are you're going to get inferior parts on the inside, and over time those are going to break down and you're going to get toxins in your ozone. So don't do it. Get a machine made in North America. Get a hold of Longevity Resources. These guys also donated $40,000 worth of machines to a hospital in Sierra Leone when Dr. Robert Rowan went over there to help with the Ebola breakout. So they're very kind-hearted people. They're great people to deal with. When I first got a hold of them, it was through email and then spoke to them on the phone, and I just can't say enough about these people that run Longevity Resources. They're very kind and just great, great people. So I recommend that unit to everybody, or one of their other units. They actually have 2 above this and about 2 or 3 below this in different price ranges. So this is kind of right in your middle of the road price range type of thing. So it's worth it to get it and do a little more homework on longevity. OzoneGenerator.com is their website. Now, in order to connect this up, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that clear line out from the oxygen tank. I'm going to hook that up to the clear line in on the ozone generator, and that's a quick connect, so it just slips together and fits together very nicely. I'm going to take that ozone output line right there, and I'm going to run that into the top of the glass trap. Then I'll take the bottom of the glass trap and I'll connect that to the top of the glass bubbler with the olive oil in it. And then I'll just take the end of the hose for the nasal cannula and I'll connect that up to the bottom of the glass bubbler. And now I'll show you how I put this on. Once I've got it on, what I would do is I would just come over here and open up the oxygen tank. I would then hit the start button on the ozone generator and I would quickly set my oxygen regulator to 1/4. In this case, remember, I'm going to do 3 on my ozone concentration to get that 8.3 gamma. And I would let this run and you would see the timer counting down to 0. You'd also see ozone going through the olive oil here. So you'll see it actually bubbling through while you're breathing it in. And you don't have to worry about any of the, like this is, remember when you're breathing this in, this is not ozone anymore. It's actually ozonides and molecules called terpenes. So it's completely safe. Meanwhile, letting that count down to 0. When it gets down to 0, it's automatically going to shut off the ozone generator in here, so it's not generating any more ozone. I would then quickly turn off my oxygen regulator, and I would close the valve on the oxygen tank. And at that point, I could go ahead and turn the power off on the ozone generator as well. Now, there's a procedure to disconnecting everything. So the first thing I want to do is disconnect the bubbler from the glass trap or the check valve. And next I'll disconnect the bubbler from the nasal cannula. And I'll disconnect the trap from the ozone generator. And finally, I'll disconnect the clear oxygen line from the oxygen regulator that goes to the input of the ozone generator. So that pretty well wraps it up. Please share the video and subscribe. I'll put a link down below for the Ozone Miracle, Dr. Frank Shallenberger's new book, and also put a link down below for Longevity Resources website, ozonegenerator.com. I'll put their phone numbers down below, and I'll put a list of all of the products that I'm using in my video today. So if you want to order one of the regulators or one of the EXT120T Ultras or find out what else is available, it makes it easy for you because you'll have all the model numbers. Again, thanks for watching.